Hey y'all, welcome back to the Briles Bunch. I'm Courtney if you're new here, and in today's video I'm sharing what's for dinner, and these are 4 of the meals that we've had this week. We made some yummy food, and you'll see that Grant helped me a little bit too, but they were all budget friendly and super easy to make, so make sure you stick around till the end to see all 4 meals. And I'll have all of the recipes in the description box too, so that you can screenshot it or do whatever you need to do to have those to be able to make them in the future. If you enjoy these type of videos, make sure you're subscribed, and if you enjoy this one, make sure to give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and hope that you guys enjoy it. Okay, so tonight we're going to be making meatball subs, and you'll need a pound of ground beef, some marinara sauce, half a cup of milk, 2 eggs, 2 cloves of garlic, but mine are really small, so I've got 3 there. And then you will need 1 cup of breadcrumbs. It says Italian, but I'm using garlic and herb. And then half a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of basil, but I'm almost out and didn't realize it, so I'll just use what I have. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Nope, just kidding. 1 teaspoon of salt and some mozzarella to sprinkle on top of it, and then slices of provolone to go into the subs itself, and then some sub rolls. And that is everything you need for that. And then we're also going to do some pasta salad on the side. So we got the oven preheated to 350, right?
Yeah. We're going to check it.
Yeah, we are.
I am. I am first.
Oh wait, first we got it. You want to go? Well, let's roll up your sleeves.
Oh, no.
So you don't get them dirty. Okay, can you crack this egg for me?
Yeah.
Hit it harder than that. Okay. Woo-wee! Okay.
4.
You're taking a while. Okay. Ah! Yucky!
Yucky. Yeah, you can do it. I like it.
Oh, okay, will you pour the egg in here?
Yeah.
Right here.
Right here.
Pour it in here. Careful. Good job. You got it. We need 1/2 cup.
I want to do that.
1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, okay?
Yeah, I want to do that.
Put it in here, right
Okay.
in this cup. There's. Oh, too much. Okay.
Do that too much. When you do it.
Pour it. And this again for 1/2 cup of milk, and I'm gonna pour this one in there, and then you can pour it in there, okay?
Yeah, I can pour it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
Yeah, pour it in there.
Okay.
Ooh. I need a whole cup of breadcrumbs, and I'm just gonna
I
put it in there
do it.
anyway on it.
I want to do it.
And go for it.
I said that. Not do
2
it.
cloves of garlic.
I sure want to get dirty. What are you doing? That might cut me.
Minced garlic.
That might cut me without giving
No,
a
it's
shot.
not.
Oh yeah. I want to do the sausage first.
Hmm?
That
1/2 teaspoon of oregano.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
Done.
1 teaspoon of salt, which is the green one.
Give me.
Use this one, so it'll fit in there. And probably about 1 teaspoon. Yeah, pour it in there. Okay.
How do that?
I gotta break it up real good first.
Too good?
Real good, I
I'm
see.
not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna eat that.
It says to break it up with your hands, which makes a lot of sense.
You do it with this. That's dirty.
Hmm.
It's really yucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to eat that thing.
We gotta cook it first. are.
Oh, not you. You. You don't like it. You don't like it, Mom? What? You don't like it. You don't want to try it, do you?
Now I'm using a medium-sized cookie scoop to scoop it into balls. And then you put it in the oven for 30 minutes on 350. While those are in the oven, I'm boiling my water for the pasta salad and heating up the sauce to put on the meatball subs. And then I'm cutting the bread in half to get those ready. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the provolone cheese in the bottom of them and wait for the meatballs to get done. This is how the meatballs looked coming out of the oven. They were super good, and this was definitely our favorite meal of the week. We definitely wanted to make more of these again. This is the first time I'd ever made meatball subs, but they were so good. I was surprised. Homemade meatballs to me is so much better than the store-bought kind, but you could easily use the store-bought kind in these too if you like those. This is how it looks plated on the plate, and for the kids, well, Grant actually had part of a meatball sub, but for Porter, I just broke apart some of the meatballs and put some of the sauce and cheese on it. And we used a box of the Hidden Valley pasta salad. That's the first time I'd had it, and it's really good too. For this meal, all I had was the veggie spaghetti, and we couldn't tell a difference. And then I used the Bertolli 5-cheese sauce and added a few ingredients. I added some onion powder, garlic powder, and oregano, and just sprinkled a little bit of that into the sauce and mixed it around. And then I heated up the meatballs in the microwave for a little bit, and then to heat them the rest of the way, I put them in the sauce and covered them and let them cook that way with the sauce for a little bit. This was the leftover meatballs from the meatball subs the night before, and it was so good in the spaghetti. We just served up the spaghetti and meatballs with some garlic toast, and even the kids enjoyed this meal. We used, like I said, the veggie spaghetti, and you really can't tell a difference. At least we couldn't to regular spaghetti, and it's a good way to get in some hidden veggies. Okay, so tonight we're going to be cooking out on the grill with some hamburgers and hot dogs, and then I'm going to be making some deviled eggs with my cheat way of making them, buying the bag of hard-boiled eggs from Walmart, and then I'll be making some baked beans out of these pork and beans. So let's get on to cooking real quick. It is getting chilly outside and a little bit dark, and Travis is trying to hurry and cook those before it gets dark. Okay, so my usual recipe for deviled eggs calls for 1/4 a cup of mayo, but I didn't realize that we were out of mayo, so I hurried up and looked up a recipe for deviled eggs without mayo, and I found one that calls for 4 teaspoons of sour cream, 1/2 teaspoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And I'll probably still add a little bit of apple cider vinegar because that's how we like them. So I'm going to try it out, and I'll let you know how we like those. I'm going to start by cutting the deviled eggs in half and taking all the yolks out. Now I'm adding a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and mash up the yolks real quick. And then the 4 teaspoons of sour cream. Then I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. A little bit more. Then you just mix it all up and put them back into the eggs. I went ahead and tried some of the mixture, and it actually tastes pretty similar to the way that I normally make it, without the sour cream, using mayo instead. But I have to say I still prefer it the way I usually make it. Let me know what your favorite way to make deviled eggs is, because my husband, before we were married, had never had the tangy kind that we make with the vinegar. But that's the way my family's always made them, and that's the way I prefer. But I would love to know how you guys make yours. I'm just sticking these into a deviled egg container real quick and putting them into the fridge so I can make my baked beans But you can also add paprika to the top of these. I'm not going to this time, but whenever I take them somewhere, I usually do. Okay, so for the beans, like I said, I'm using pork and beans, and I always drain them. And I'm doing them on the stove tonight, but when I take them somewhere, usually I will do it in the oven and cook them a little bit longer, and maybe add some like pieces of bacon or something. You can really add whatever kind of stuff you want, like peppers or things like that. And I don't really measure my ingredients for this one. I guess you could say I measure in swirls, because I put in 1 swirl of mustard, like that. And then 1 swirl of ketchup, or 1.5. And then a dollop of barbecue sauce, really just as much barbecue sauce as you want to add. And then a pinch of brown sugar. And after I added that, I'm just adding about a handful of chopped onions. I don't really know how much that would be, but there you go. You can add as little or as much as you would like in yours. I like a little bit of crunch in mine and the flavor that it brings. So super easy, super cheap side to make. And I always love these kind of baked beans. And you just heat them up on the stove until they're heated. Here's the hot dog, deviled eggs, baked beans, and I actually decided to add a little bit of the leftover pasta salad too. So that's what's for dinner tonight. So tonight we're doing pork chops in the oven with a couple of sides, and you'll need at least 4 pork chops. We use 6 in our recipe, and so I kind of doubled the recipe, and I used way too many garlic cloves. I would stick with the original 4 cloves of garlic, and then you will need 1/3 cup of brown sugar, some shredded cheese, 4 tablespoons of butter melted, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and salt and pepper to taste. This is a super easy meal though, and it went really quick, but I doubled the butter also and didn't need to. I used 8 tablespoons, but you only needed 4. So I'm gonna start by just getting the garlic ready and mincing all of that. I love using fresh garlic, and I'm chopping it up in the Ninja chopper, and then adding the brown sugar and mixing it around, because you will, like you see me doing there, you rub it into both sides of the pork chops and then lay them in the pan. And once they're all laid in the pan, you will sprinkle it with the melted butter. And it was just drowning in butter with as much as I used. So even though I used more pork chops, I still didn't need to use extra butter. So I would stick with the 4 tablespoons that it calls for. And again, I'll leave the recipes in the description box below so you can follow them the right way. And so you're learning from me, I guess, with trial and error. I used too much garlic. This ended up tasting really good though. It was just a little strong on the garlic side, but if you like it that way, then totally add 8 cloves. But I think I probably should have stuck with like 4 to 6 cloves. Now you just cook it in the oven for 23 minutes on 350, and then you want to take it out of the oven after those 23 minutes and sprinkle it all over with shredded cheese. We left a couple of them out that didn't have shredded cheese on them though, because we wanted to try it without and see which one we like better. I would definitely suggest using the shredded cheese though. It turned out really good. And then once you put the shredded cheese, you want to put it back in the oven for 5 more minutes. And this is what it looked like coming out of the oven. Look at all the butter bubbling up. It was so good though. And we served it up with a steamable bag of broccoli and cheese that you can cook in the microwave, super easy, and then some potato casserole that I had made the day before to take to a family reunion. And so that is all the recipes that we made this week for dinner, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do and you like these kind of videos, make sure to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.